with questions about the future of the company going on for most of the past year, with different creative regimes and business supervisors leading to multiple rapid changes in product directions along the way, all unable to stop the ball rolling down the hill, accelerated by pre-existing contracts, political chaos, and not one head figure to take control with a clear vision without interferences from executives who mostly didn't get the way the business operates. The fate of WCW was all but confirmed on Friday morning when Brad Siegel got the word out to the company employees hours before the new AOL Time Warner hierarchy publicly announced that WCW programming will not continue on the Turner channels past next Monday, officially ending the Eric Bischoff-led bid to buy the company without the 4 primetime television hours, while also ending the company's 3-decade association with the Turner Network, with the decision being made by new head of TBS and TNT content supervisor Jamie Kellner, who got the job just a few weeks ago and decided to market the network in a different direction despite Nitro and Thunder still outdrawing the vast majority of primetime cable programs on all major networks, putting Vince McMahon back as the leading contender to buy the company, which without the high-profile TV spots still has the historically valuable video library combined with all trademarks and most of the talent roster, with Nitro's big talking point of the night, with the crew now knowing that the end is near, at least in its current form, being a major announcement from Eric Bischoff to follow up on the situation to the wide audience, as with the message going to the talent roster 2 days before it. The Greed pay-per-view on Sunday night saw Scott Steiner take out Page as the last top babyface remaining to retain the title and set up a confrontation with Booker coming up. Steiner and Flair came out 3 minutes from the top of the hour to call out Booker and set the stage for Eric Bischoff's announcement, introduced by Booker on the phone to tell the audience without going into detail that next week might be the final wrestling show on the Turner networks after 29 years, saying that for the past 6 months he tried to acquire WCW with a group of people, but they recently hit roadblocks that turned out to be brick walls, announcing next Monday on an historic night to be a special night of champions with all the titles defended, headlined by Steiner vs. Booker in a World vs. US title versus title match, while also inviting any former WCW champion to attend the show in Panama next Monday, with the Bischoff announcement, which went less than 2 minutes past 9 p.m., followed by the Steiner-Booker contract signing angle, seeing Nitro opening with one of its highest rated segments of the year, 2.4 rating. Coming within almost just 1 rating point from Raw's 3.5 in the closest margin between the shows since the 90s, with Eric's phone call portion of the quarter more than likely outdrawing it and holding a bigger audience than Raw head-to-head. With speculation on the immediate future of WCW dominating headlines and the industry, the WWF continued its way to the biggest event of the generation, with the company yet to announce a full card for the show outside of The Rock vs. Austin main event less than 2 weeks to the pay-per-view, opening with the follow-up of Rock taking 2 stunners in the past week of TV to see him waiting for Austin's arrival to the building outside the Pepsi Arena in Albany, with the first quarter mostly featuring a Big Show vs. Raven hardcore title match going against the big intrigue of the Eric Bischoff announcement on Nitro, seeing Raw opening with its lowest opening quarter in years, 3.5 rating. While Vince McMahon now looks to be the heavy favorite to buy the company at a much lower price than anyone anticipated, thanks in large part to political maneuvering of current WWF President Stuart Snyder, who previously worked with Brad Siegel at Turner, to allegedly internally sabotage any negotiations to buy the company for anyone that is not McMahon's WWF, with the suspicion on both sides that Siegel and Snyder worked together behind the scenes to make any deal as difficult as possible, including the cancellation of the still highly rated TV shows despite McMahon's offer being ridiculously low for the potential of the video library alone, with Shane McMahon coming out for a promo on Raw to officially take Foley's original place as Vince's opponent at WrestleMania 17. Challenging him to the match to bring him out, ending with Vince signing the contract before bringing Triple H as backup to lay him out, with this segment after the lower start bumping Raw over 1.3 million viewers in minutes to go from a 3.5 to 4.6 rating, and with 2001 tracking to be Vince McMahon's most publicized year in history, 13 days from what is set to be the biggest money event in company history, with the continuation of the WWF boom and more mainstream exposure than ever through the massive hype to the XFL and weeks later its decline, and perhaps the final completion of monopoly on the wrestling industry with the folding of WCW and the imminent sale of WCW. Vince might have topped himself and any reaction to the XFL with one of the most talked about talk show appearances in television history on the Bob Costas on the Record show last Wednesday, highlighted by McMahon aggressively going after Costas when constantly interrupted to almost get physical on the air, with Vince confronted on the sharp ratings decline of the XFL that lost over 75% of its first-week Curiosity viewership, saying that they made mistakes that resulted in them not retaining their audience, but the quality of games announcing and production all now improved significantly, with the second half of the interview covering edgy aspects of the WWF product, specifically the Trish Barking segment on Raw 2 weeks ago, with McMahon responding that a majority of WWF viewers are over 18 and it's part of a storyline that's heading towards a payoff, before being interrupted again and going off on Costas, telling him that he can keep his little interview show but don't have a clue on how to run his business and what people want to see. And when numbers came out the next day, it was clear people want to see Vince McMahon, with him translating his WWF TV drawing power to another setting as the show drew a 3 rating and a massive jump over the usual 2.3 rating to make it its highest rated show of the year. The second half of O'Hare and Palumbo against Storm and Awesome opened Nitro's final quarter to go 8 minutes, with O'Hare along with Palumbo and other members of the Thrillers likely to have a contract offer from the WWF, with him showing superstar potential after already showing big improvements since debuting on TV last year, with the final ever Nitro show in its arena setting closing with Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes in almost a tribute to the company's history with one of its most memorable rivalries, seeing Dusty bring a donkey to the building before closing the show, taking out Flair and Jarrett, gaining over 600,000 viewers to a 1.9 rating heading into the final night in company history next Monday. After waiting for Austin to arrive outside the building for almost the past hour, Rock came out unannounced to clear the ring from anyone involved in a Taz vs Stevie Richards match, sending their final message to Austin before their upcoming confrontation, saying that after 2 stunners in the past week when they were finally set to go face-to-face tonight, Austin suddenly has plane troubles, saying that he's not waiting to WrestleMania, and the second Austin steps foot in the building he's coming to take him out, with Coach in the Albany airport waiting for Austin's arrival to build up the clash before the end of the night, with Raw crossing over the top of the hour with a Triple H vs Test European title match booked by Regal on the spot after Hunter requested the match, going a minute before Undertaker came out to send Kane after Stephanie to get around the restraining order while going after Triple H in the ring, officially setting up Taker vs. Hunter for WrestleMania, with the first unopposed quarter picking up over 1.2 million viewers to a show-high 5.2 rating. Three days after the much-talked-about Vince McMahon-Bob Costa's interview with the XFL ratings one of the main topics of conversation during it, the buzz from the interview not only didn't carry over to an interest increase on Saturday but instead saw the game dropping to its lowest rating of the season, drawing a 1.6 rating with 2.1 million viewers to make it the lowest-rated first-run primetime TV program in the history of one of the top 4 TV networks, with Raw's second hour continuing the loaded show with multiple angles building up to Mania, with the next two being Jericho and Regal, followed by Chyna's return from injury to take out Ivory and set up both matches for the pay-per-view. Austin arrived at the airport at 10:40 p.m. being informed by Coach on Rock calling him out with 20 minutes left to the top of the hour to get to the building, followed by the second tag titles match on the night with the Dudleys winning the belts from Edge and Christian after Spike Dudley's interference, coming after Rhino also made his Raw debut an hour earlier, with Heyman on commentary acknowledging that he was the last ECW heavyweight champion, opening the door for more returns and debuts coming up, with ECW now all but officially shut down, as Raw's second hour overall did a 5 rating with over 6.4 million viewers and dropped from last Monday's over a month high number of 5.4. After originally advertising the main event to be a Rock vs. Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit handicap match, Regal added him and Jericho to both sides to make it 3-on-2, with the match going 8 minutes into the 8-minute overrun, jumping over 700,000 viewers to a 5.1 rating, with Regal pinning Jericho for the finish, setting up the main angle of the night with Steve Austin running in to go after Rock at 11:06 p.m., ending up in a chaotic brawl that eventually saw Rock laying out Austin with a belt shot to the head, followed by a rock bottom in payback for the last week, with 6 more hours and 3 more TV shows to go in the build-up to WrestleMania 17, with all eyes set on next Monday in what is set to be an historic night for the industry, 6 days to the pay-per-view.